To be born with a sensitive heart is a true gift to others. Those who have a sensitive heart also have a sensitive ear, ready to listen to another's problems. They feel others' pain as though it were their own. They are careful to avoid hurtful words or embarrassment that others normally don't see. It is a true gift to have a sensitive heart, and we should thank God for it. However, if we aren't careful, a sensitive heart can also become a burden, not just to others, but also to ourselves. A person with a sensitive heart can become touchy, overly sensitive, and even prideful, quick to judge others who may not possess the same sensitivity, and quick to condemn those who may show insensitivity or unkindness. Saint Therese had a sensitive heart, which helped her develop into a great saint. She felt the pain of Jesus and the pain of others, which helped her become a better and holier person, sympathetic to others' needs and sufferings. However, after her mother died, her sensitive heart was broken, and thus became too sensitive to bear even the smallest trial, causing her to feel every little pain and hurt feelings to such a degree that she cried over almost everything, no matter how small. This made it very hard for those in the household to do anything with her. Although they handled her with love and patience for the most part, they also at times would exclaim, "You cry so much during your childhood, you'll no longer have tears to shed later on." Therese herself says, "I was really unbearable because of my extreme touchiness. If I happened to cause anyone I loved some little trouble, even unwittingly, instead of forgetting about it and not crying, which made matters worse, I cried like a Magdalene, and then when I began to cheer up, I'd begin to cry again for having cried." Therese was the baby of the family, but not wanting to be a baby any longer, she wanted to take part in helping around the house, as her older sisters had always taken on the household chores. Her intention was to do the chores for Jesus and for Him alone. However, if no one noticed her work or didn't seem happy or surprised, Therese would feel disappointment and hurt, which she was unable to hide. She admits, "It's true that I had a great desire to practice virtue, and it was for God alone that I was doing these things, and should not have expected any thanks from creatures." Saint Therese had a good start for wanting to practice virtue, but was too weak to do it on her own. "I was quite unable to correct this fault," she writes. "I really don't know how I could entertain the thought of entering Carmel when I was still in the swaddling clothes of a child." God wanted to help Therese with this weakness that was a stumbling block in her spiritual life. On Christmas Eve night, after coming home from midnight mass, Therese eagerly went to her shoes that were in the chimney corner where little presents were placed within them. This was a fun little tradition her family practiced since she was little, and although Therese was now 14 years old, she still enjoyed the custom, and her older sisters enjoyed watching her excitement. Her father, Louis Martin, normally enjoyed watching Therese open her gifts as well, but this night he was very tired and feeling a little irritable that a girl of Therese's age still kept up the childish tradition. "Jesus desired to show me that I was to give up the defects of my childhood, and so he withdrew its innocent pleasures. He permitted Papa, tired out after midnight mass, to experience annoyance when seeing my shoes at the fireplace, and that he speak those words which pierced my heart. Well, fortunately, this will be the last year." Therese had been going upstairs to remove her hat when she overheard her father's words, and her sister Celine, who understood her so well and saw tears already forming in her eyes, told her not to go downstairs since it would be too hard. However, in that moment, Therese felt a strength enter into her soul that had not been there before. For the first time in years, she was able to push aside her own hurt feelings and wipe away her tears, and ran downstairs to open her gifts as though nothing had happened. She writes, "Controlling the pounding of my heart, I took my slippers and placed them in front of Papa and withdrew all the objects joyfully. Having regained his own cheerfulness, Papa was laughing and Celine believed it was all a dream. Fortunately, it was a sweet reality." Her stumbling block of a heart that was so sore and injured after her mother's death was healed in an instant. She writes with joy, "That night, the work of trying to overcome my sensitivity for 10 years was done by Jesus in an instant, as he was content with my goodwill, which was never lacking." There are some faults we aren't able to overcome on our own. Most of us must learn to suffer with them, allowing them to humble us in our weakness and overcome our pride. But sometimes, Jesus likes to hurry things up a bit by giving us a little bit of help. In Therese's case, who was to enter Carmel in just 1 year, he needed her to grow up in a hurry to become a worthy apostle. And so rather than let her do the work herself, she says, "Jesus was content to take the net himself, cast it, and drew it in with fish. He made me a fisher of souls, and I experienced a great desire to work for the conversion of sinners." This grace moves St. Therese in leaps and bounds in her spiritual life, so much that she calls it the grace of leaving my childhood, the grace when Therese grew up in just one night.